It's a recipe to make education unavailable to Black people. And where does that then leave us? It puts us back to when America was great and we were picking cotton and
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the Democratic House Rep from Georgia, Hank Johnson, suggesting that President Trump is trying to cut education from a federal level in efforts that would eventually lead Black folks back to picking cotton. Now, this is really crazy, really ridiculous, but there's a lot that needs to be said because guys will say things like this and it'll kind of go unchallenged, or someone may be outraged, but they won't actually give a good follow-up to what he's saying, because there are some individuals in this world who believe what this man says. I don't know how you're going to believe anything he says after many years ago he said that if we put too much military personnel on Guam, that it would tip over.
My fear is that the whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
But that's a different story, and I digress. The point is that some are going to hear what he says and they are going to believe it. They're going to say that's right and you can't prove anything else. I'm going to get to it and I'm going to tear it apart systematically. I will. But first things first, we have the other young lady. What's her name? Jasmine Crockett. She was on that same call. I'm not sure where this is from, when it happened. I don't really know. But she was saying something along the lines of what Hank Johnson was saying. Let's go ahead and check it out. And of course, both of these videos will be available in the box if you want to see it and hear it without my commentary. If you're on IG, visit a link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
And as they have decided to go after immigrants and these and things like that, and they've said, oh, they taking your Black jobs. They taking your Black jobs. Not really. They are obviously jobs that they want us to go back to, such as work in the fields, all right? Those immigrants that come into our country, they work the fields, something that we ain't done in a long time. And clearly, he is trying to make us go back to the fields. And as they...
Let's pause. There is so much I want to say. There's so many questions I have to ask. First of all, what's wrong with working in the field? Tell me that. Don't tell me about slavery and getting whipped. I'm talking about the act of working in the field. I ain't talking about being enslaved, which is a whole different thing. What if you have your own farm? It's you, you're a free man. It's 2025, ain't no more slavery. You got your own farm. Is there anything wrong with you working your own farm? Isn't that also called working in the field? What's wrong with that? But also, let's not act like it's just those kind of jobs, picking fruits and no, it ain't just those jobs that they're taking. You're talking about all types of jobs, a lot of labor intensive jobs that pay a lot of money. Okay. A lot of truck drivers on the road that can't drive and be crashing and stuff like that. A lot of migrants doing stuff like this. You also have those who are doing construction, of course. They dominate that field. What's wrong with construction? I thought it was a good thing when the man could build a house. But when the migrants come in and take those jobs from Americans, all of a sudden, these are jobs that are beneath us and they shouldn't be done. I'm trying to figure it out. I don't really understand. If you as a human being have a skill to build a house, you are rich beyond your wildest dreams because you can create, you can build. That is a skill to have that will always survive, whether you're in a pandemic, scandemic, or whatever. You're always going to be able to survive with that skill. So what's wrong with doing those jobs and having those skills? I'm having a hard time being able to understand Ms. Crockett. But anyway, let's go to Hank, Guam, might tip over Johnson, and let's get some really, I'm talking about top tier, super high IQ takes from him. Check it out.
All of the ways in which they can kill public education, from defunding it from a federal level and then also enabling state monies and local monies to flow into the private for-profit school setup that is ongoing. It's a recipe to make education unavailable to Black people. And where does that then leave us? It puts us back to when America was great and we were picking cotton and all of it. We're doing the productivity that they are putting my Latino brothers and sisters who migrate here to do that work, because we are not suited intellectually to do it anymore. And but they would have us back confined to doing that kind of work. So we got to watch out for where we are headed, and it's the people that will save our democracy, that will stop this movement towards the past that Trump has us hurtling towards.
Okay, there is so much. I was trying to not interrupt. I wanted to interrupt a lot, but I wanted you guys to hear what he said in full uninterrupted. Now, there's so much I wanted to say. First of all, again, what's wrong with doing those jobs, though? Like, seriously, what's wrong with doing those jobs? I don't really understand. So we're too good to do those jobs anymore. So we got to bring in the migrants. We got to bring in the new slaves. We're too good as a nation to fulfill all our needs without enslaving people or bringing in people illegally or bringing crime and violence and drugs with them. I don't really get it. Are we not self-sufficient? Or is that the whole thing? Okay, Americans are too incompetent, too lazy, too fat, whatever it is, too sick, drug addicted. We are so much of these things, we can't even take care of our own basic necessities like growing food and building homes. And is that what we're saying? If you want to say that, then say that. Campaign on that and see how that go for you. Who's going to vote for you when you say that you're sick, you're fat, you're lazy, don't want to work? And if that's the case, then why aren't we doing something about it? We're just kicking the can down the road. Okay, the solution to all of our ills is to bring in more migrants, rather than addressing the issues that Americans have. We vote for you. We put you in office to address our issues, to be our voice. We're your constituents. You should serve us, but who are you? I can't tell who you serving, really. And about black folks specifically, do you know that 25% of all black males will have gone to prison by the time they reach age 40? Actually, it's 26.1%. That's 1 out of every 4. 1 out of every 4 black men will go to prison by the time they reach 40. Isn't that a problem? Oh, we don't want to do those jobs. What do we want to do? Go to the penitentiary and then still do those jobs in prison, but like literally enslaved? Don't you understand? Look, slavery was outlawed except for prisoners. So when you go to prison, you go back to slavery. That's what happens to you. You're in there doing jobs for 2 cents an hour or whatever it is, way below the so-called minimum wage. Minimum wage, you lucky if you get paid at all. And you're in a dangerous environment. It's an unhealthy environment many times. So if 25% of us are going to go to something like that, which is basically slavery has not ended and many of us are still up under it. How about we just train those men to actually do things like build homes, like work in the field, train them to do that rather than going to the penitentiary where it's all kind of extra stuff going on and you're enslaved and you're not contributing to the maximum ability. You could be out there using that strong physical body that we got to actually harvest crops for yourself. Don't even worry about trying to work for the white man. Do your own thing. You can have your own farm. You could be out there homesteading with your wife and your kids out there in a small town. So you can homestead and do it that way rather than trying to sell drugs, get locked up, and your whole life is ruined. I just don't really understand the logic. Look, I'm going to close with this. I've said it many times on a live stream, but I'm going to say it right here for this video. If I could just be the king and rule by fiat over the black population in this country, or really, you know what, the whole country, not just black folks, what I'm going to say right now would impact the entire country, and I think it'd be for the better. Hear me out. If you are not able to read on grade level by the time you get to the 3rd grade, I'm going to have you go to a trade school, and it's going to be mandatory. And if you don't do it, it'll be penalties. Yeah, your parents might suffer penalties, parents might get locked up. Something will have to happen. You have to go to this trade school, and for the girls, some type of trade school as well, but in things that they're going to nurse in. I'll put you in that school and make you do that. You'll get a modified education that'll still have you literate, but I know that you're not going to make up the gap between you and other kids. If you're 8 years old and can't read on grade level, which you probably can't read at all, you're not going to ever catch up with the person who is on the same level with you and can read at grade level and you can't. I'll put you in a trade program, and I think that would drastically reduce the rate of incarceration because they're going to have skills, they're going to have discipline, and they can do things. That'd be what I do, and it'd be mandatory. Because what's happening right now, they're just being passed through the system, just passing them along. I was watching this video on Instagram, I believe. It might have been a Millionaire Mindset podcast. I forget. But anyway, the guy was talking about mentoring kids. And he meets a kid who was like middle school age, maybe 13. And the boy could not read at all. C-spot run, what's that? You know automatically he's pretty much doomed and he's going to go to the penitentiary. Hopefully, prayerfully, as they say, he doesn't. But you know what the odds are. You can't read, hood environment, single parent. You already know what the end of that story is. I would do things to try and stop that from happening. What I would not do is tell them that they're too good to do any kind of job. A job is a job. It's better than being in the penitentiary making big rocks to little. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your opinion about what Jasmine Crockett and Hank Johnson said about Trump trying to bring back slavery and picking cotton and whatnot? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. What they said was BS because picking cotton, they got machines for that. Like, you're not even going to be able to do that. We're talking about actual trades that Americans have always done. But up until civil rights time, we did it ourselves. Now we're bringing in all these migrants and they're doing it. Why can't we do it? Why can't we sustain our own country? Every country should be able to sustain itself. If they cannot sustain themselves without outside help, are they sovereign at all? Are they independent? I thought independence meant that you did not need anyone else to live and function. If you need other people to live and function, you're not independent and you're not free. Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that is all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.